Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Itsmontez.com. I know that you've been seeing lots of different interviews, and I hope that you've been getting a lot of different knowledge and lots of power within lots of different shows. As you know, we air a show every single Tuesday, and it's called Get This Knowledge. John Pounders from Now You See TV comes on to the show, and sometimes we have special guests, and he uses some of the things and techniques that he does when growing his YouTube and shares it with all of us. So that's been really nice. It's been on really good growth, and I hope that you all have been getting lots of information from that. Today, I'm going to have on a very, very motivational person. Her name's LaDonna Marie. She's a best-selling author, and she's also been noted for lots of other things. I'm going to let her tell you exactly what it is, and I hope that you all can get lots of power from this. LaDonna Marie, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate coming in. So I'm so excited for the show. You said it right, author, poet, motivational speaker, inspirationalist, if that's a word. I love to empower and encourage other people. And writing books as an author is the way that I give back to the world to empower them through healing and motivation and resiliency and restoration, like overcoming the things in life that cause us to hiccup sometimes. So that's me.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So like, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this, like right into it. I wanted to know, so when you started writing, when did you figure out that writing was going to be for you?
Okay, so I had an experience when I was about 12 years old, and I was going through a lot of things in my life, and I was feeling kind of down, feeling misunderstood, and I just got this inspiration from God above, and He said that He was going to help me to heal, and my words were going to help others to heal. And so then He gave me the gift. So I used to journal a lot. I used to write a lot, and then it turned into poetry. So about at the age of 14, it started to turn into poetry, because back then I loved Nikki Giovanni. I loved her books. I loved, the late Dr. Maya Angelou. And so reading their poetry, for me, it kind of highlighted. I was like, yeah, they put so much good, energy and just expressing of their feelings and healing out into the atmosphere. And I said, that's what I want my writings to do. I want somebody to read it and be like, yeah, I get that. I understand where you're coming from, or that's helping me, right now in my moment of my life. So when I was about 12, when God gave me the gift, to do that, I went forward with it to say, I'm going to heal myself and help others along the way.
So did you have any like motivators? Like, I'm pretty sure you did, but like, was your mother a writer at any time? Was your grandmother a writer? Was this something that was like kind of passed on, or?
No, you know what, Montez? I'm actually the only one right in my immediate family. And I have a cousin who she did write a book, but no, it was just, that it was just the gift that I just got. And, no studying or anything. It's just a gift. Ever since 12, I've just been writing and pouring into it. They draw and they do some other things, but I'm the only one with this writing gene.
Well, that's pretty cool. You're the one that got the goodness, huh?
Right. I actually sing too. So that's actually one of my gifts. I recognized at an early age. So singing was the actual first gift that I got, but I was kind of shy back then. I, feeling misunderstood and stuff. So I went with the writing. Like, I wanted to just be the powerhouse behind the words. And so I went with the writing of the books and put singing on the background. But, I realized that those were my gifts, to the world, to encourage and just serve others through the gifts of encouragement and empowerment.
Powerful stuff. So like, what was the first book that you can remember getting published? I'm sure you remember.
Well, the title of my first book is Expressions of the Mind, Body, and Soul. And I published it in 2010. But as I said before, I had been writing since like way before, like 1996. And so what I did with that book, because it was a 12-year span, I researched, I didn't give up. I almost lost some of my poetry actually in Hurricane Katrina, because in 2005, I lived on the coast. But I had been writing and writing and writing. And so after the hurricane happened and I went back to, my apartment, and all of my writings were like, they were wet and they were still damp and they were on the, on the floor, and they weren't messed up. Like, I still could read them. I still could understand what they said. And so I said to myself, I said, you know what? They didn't get messed up in the hurricane. So guess what? I'm going to put these out into the world because they are meant to be out in the world. They wanted to stay here, and I published my book in 2010, but it still took me 5 years because, of course, you always have to research. You have to look at your market. You have to, know what's out there and how to do those things. So it took me a little while before, I did that. So 2010 was my first book. But I also want to say that I think in 2007, I had put a poem like out in a poetry contest just to see, if it would, if people would like it. And so I got published with one of the books I co-authored was A League of American Poets. It's called Whispers. So one of my first poems in 2007, so that was in 2007, it was a part of that book. And in 2010, I wanted to do that again. And once I put the poem out there, another poem, they were like, yes, we'll put it in our book. And then I said, no, I guess since everybody, they like it, maybe I should do it myself. And so that's when I started doing a full body of work and not just putting out like 1 or 2 poems as I go along.
So when you were distributing your poems into the book, how about did you find out where to put your poems? I mean, like, I'm sure that's a lot of problems that people do have is finding out where can they place their stuff. A lot of times people will post their things on blogs, or they'll do it through the internet world. Instagram and do things like this. But when you're trying to get your poem into a book, how did you go about that?
So for me, I thought like back then, how they say you put stuff on the internet, and I really thought like people were going to take my stuff. So I was like, I really don't want to put it like all online and different things. So that's the reason why I thought about just, doing a body of work, doing just writing everything that I wanted. And, then I do poetry. So I do poetry and I do devotionals, but I started out as a poet. And so I just decided to, put them all. I researched a bunch of companies, to see what they were offering because I'm a self-published author, but now I also publish my own. And I just researched to see what did I need to do to get them in a book. How many pages would be, suitable for a poetry book. And I went on from there.
Yeah. So after you published into the poetry, you got your poetries into the books. Is this when the book, you start learning the knowledge of how to get your books published, or like where you learning from?
So the first experience that I had, I went with this company called Exebris. I researched, like I said, you always have to do your research because you want to know, just because they're offering you a service, you want to know what you're getting for your service, what features are they going to help you with. You want to get your bang for your buck. So I researched the company. Yeah. I researched the company. I looked at, maybe if some people have their stuff, because I'm a writer. I like to write all my stuff in pens and pads. I'm so old fashioned. So, I even wanted to decide to see if maybe, if they could type it up or if I had to type it up. So I just did all of the research to find out what exactly I needed to do. And then I, went to the company. So for them, when they did me, everything that they needed, I already had. Like, if you're a writer, I tell everybody all the time, be motivated and get that book out of your belly. No longer let that book stay in your head, or, you have to go ahead and get it out. So I had my manuscript ready. And once you have your manuscript ready, you're really ready to go. Like, you can approach a company, or you can approach, a publishing company and get ready to do the work. And so once I did that, they connected me with the other people, the editors and, the proofreaders and everything. And then the process just decided to, just started going forward. And I had a book within 3 months in 2010. I actually had a book before my youngest son was born. I started on it in June. I was finished with it by September, and my son was born in October. So I was like, at this point in my life, I'm going to write this book. I'm no longer going to wait anymore. I'm going to publish it. And so once you're motivated and you have your mindset on what you want to do, trust me, Montez, you will get it done.
I can believe it. Motivation is a big part of it. Like a lot of people, that willpower. If you have that will and you go strong for it, you'll get things done. I totally agree with that.
Right. You will.
I'm wondering, so when you're going through these things, like when you're writing your books and stuff like this, are there pauses when you go through it? Is it just automatically just coming all out in one instant, or like how do you go with the writing? Do you take breaks?
Well, I do. I do. I'm inspired. I have to be inspired. But I'm inspired by life. You know, most of my books are about life, love, relationships, overcoming obstacles, some anger, you know, healing type things. So, you know, in life we go through a lot of circumstances. We go through a lot of things. So if I'm inspired, like most of my first poems were angry poems because I was a young kid and I felt misunderstood. And so all of my hurt, instead of going out doing crazy stuff, I put all of that pain and all of that hurt, you know, inside of my poems. And you can attest to that as a singer. You know, you have to draw from your emotions. And so whenever I'm inspired, that's when I write, whether I want to write about love, the lack thereof, or, you know, the feeling of how it is to have it. So as I'm inspired, you know, I write. I also don't force anything. Like if I don't feel anything, I don't force it. But I write as much as I write as much as I need to. Like if I want to write every day, or if I'm inspired, even if I just want to blog a little bit or just write a blurb, I would do that, because you have to keep those writing muscles like open and ready. But if I need to take a break, I don't have writer's block. I've never experienced it, because I write on the inspiration of what's going on around me, what's going on in my environment. You know, what am I feeling? What is somebody else feeling? Because a lot of my writing is about my perceptions of life, and also there of other, because I'm an observer of life and of people. And so I think that it's something to write about all the time, you know, when you're going through life. And so that's where I draw, you know, all of my positive thoughts, or just my healing and overcoming. Or I'm a writer who meets people where they are, because I experienced like anger and pain and misunderstanding and you know, hurt and love, and just, you know, those things. I can write about them, because, you know, how can you tell somebody about them if you haven't experienced them yourself? And so I'm a compassionate writer.
That's so true. That's so true. How can you write about it if you never experienced it? That's some powerful stuff. So, right. So, like, now your first book, you're getting it. How many pages was your first book?
My first book was probably about let me see, because I have it right here. It was 118 pages. It was 100. It's Expressions of the Mind, Body, and Soul. And so it was 118 pages.
How do you decide whether or not to go from paperback or to hardback, you know?
Well, it is the preference of you. I have not done a hardback yet. I've only done Kindle, and I've done in softback books. But I think, you know, once I, you know, get up to the level of writing my novels, I would want that hardback feel. And it's just a discretion of the writer, you know, if that's something that you want, because most of the hardbacks are just a black cover with a paper cover on top. So it's really all in what you want. You know, I think once I write that memoir, or that autobiography, that book that, you know, is just gonna shake up my world, I think I would want to give it the quality of a hardback. But I love my paperback books, softbacks, because, you know, people love to read, and they like Kindles and stuff as well. So it's just a discretion of the writer. If you want it however you would want it, you decide what you want.
So I hear a lot of times people talk about maybe like the internet might take over the whole book world, and like you said, the Kindle, you can go put them on. They got so many different things that you can read. I can't remember all of them, but do you think eventually the books might be turned away? And if they did, what would be the thing that you missed the most about original book?
You know what, Montez, I do think, I think that all the time, that the internet and technology, because we can pull up a book or anything on the internet. You know, you have the EPUB, you can do, you know, now you can do PDFs, you know, you can do the Kindle, you can do it on Nook. But I do think that the book world, the paper books are going to be replaced because of how technology is advancing. But for me, you know, as a writer, when you get that first, because I call my books babies too. They're my babies. Even though I have 2 boys, they're my babies too. But when you get that book and you hold it in your hand and
Yeah.
you get to feel it and you're like, yes, I did this. Like, this is my creation. That's the most exhilarating part for me, because I'm working on my 6th book right now, and I'm so excited. Every time I look at the cover, I'm excited. I share it, and I'm just waiting till I hit the publish, and I say, send me the proof, so I can just hold it and say, this is awesome. So I think that being able to flip through the pages, being able to just see your body of work in your hand, that's the most exhilarating thing as being an author. But I do think, you can even get your books on your phone. Like, you can download the Amazon app. You don't even have to have a tablet. You can, all these apps, you can get it. So I do think, that it's going to be replaced, but I still will miss the book in my hand.
Now, as far as in like reaching people, would you say that because again, like you said, there's people that like to feel the natural feeling of the book, and there's people that like to, I guess, just read it. But do you think that whenever it comes into it, that the people who like to feel the book will probably switch over and go ahead and purchase the book off the Kindles or off the Amazon, or do you think they'll just quit reading altogether?
No, I don't think that they'll quit reading. I don't think that they will quit reading, because I see that with my readers. Like, a lot of them, they buy Kindle, and they'll send you a message saying, I read it. But I think there are a lot of people who are like old-fashioned, who love to have a book. So I think that books will still be relevant. Moving forward, I think that they still will be relevant, because there are the ones who, we have like some people who don't change, like they like things the way they like things. And I think that we will still have that group of people who say, I get it. Because another thing for me, what I've noticed, when I go to do book signings and things like that, I love to be out there so I can touch the people. A lot of people that I tell to go to my website, I do have people who go to my website and actually buy, or they go to Amazon and they do buy. But the exhilarating thing for me too is to be there with the people. Like, I can be there with you with the book in my hand. We can converse, we can talk about it, and then you can walk away with your gift, with your enrichment, with your empowerment, or with your love story. So I do think people still value the book, a book.
All right, so when you're writing into things, a lot of people that get inspirations, I think you did say one inspiration. Who are a lot of the people that inspire you as an author? I'm sure you read books and then it was like, hey, like Louis L'Amour. I enjoy him a whole lot. I enjoy his books. I love the hardback books, and it's got the gold tips on the end of it. And when I'm reading those Westerns, I feel like I'm really there. What about you? What are some things, like some authors that influenced you?
Well, once again, I want to say the late Dr. Maya Angelou, because, and she was my childhood mentor, and even before I met her, because I did meet her when I was in 9th grade, and I used to love her books, because even the book, I Know Why the Caged Bird, sings or whatever, and like things like that intrigued me, because they have so much deep meaning, and I'm a deep feeler, and I know there are a lot of people who, I often say that I used to think that my voice was stifled a lot when I was younger, and now I think I write, sometimes I speak for the silent voices, because a lot of things that I write about, a lot of people feel those things in their heart and in their mind, and they just feel them. They don't speak them. But when they read, so that's how I felt when I read, Dr. Maya Angelou's. When I read her stuff, I was like, wow, she's talking about some heavy stuff. And then for Nikki Giovanni, when she, all of the books about love, like she loves writing about love, and I love love. So when I would read those books, I would be like, yeah, I want to do this when I grow up. And then there's one other poem that I read, I think his name was by Countess Cullen. When I was in 5th grade, there was a poem called Hey Black Child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Do you know you can be who you want to be if you try to be who you can be? And so when I was younger and I read that poem, I was like, I said, I want to write stuff like that that's going to encourage somebody younger than me. I want to be able to, when you look down, you want to be picking somebody up. You don't want to be putting them down. So that poem did everything for me when I was in 5th grade, and I remembered it. And so him, persons like that, and also like Langston Hughes, like the writers who wrote free verse, and the ones who wrote about, things that touched people, the things that, because emotions get people, even stuff, with drama gets people. People love what they love. And so I'm one of those writers who want to feel and touch what the people want to hear, or what they don't say that they would like to say.
Well, so like when you're writing your books, what's the best feeling that you can get when like maybe the book's sold? I mean, everyone likes to sell a book, but I mean, what's the feeling that makes you feel the best about it? Like any comments maybe that you might have received?
Yes, I just received some like yesterday, and there's a book club that's on Facebook that they're reading my book Until Tomorrow Comes, and the lady was
Do
asking
you have
everybody to read
a copy of that with you Until Tomorrow Comes?
Yeah, I do. It's a copy with me actually on the cover, and this is the first. This is the first one that I actually decided to put me on the cover. So
Very nice.
it's me. Thank you. And it's me because when I wrote this book too, God had told me that I was going through my own journey of growth and awareness, because He wanted me to promote positive growth and awareness. But it also covers 5 different areas that we go through, like where you feel lost, where you need encouragement, where you're coming to be self-aware, where you love or scorn, because a lot of us go through a lot of stuff in relationships that we sometimes don't know if we doing it right, or we just trying to figure it out. So I wrote about all of that, and then just your eyes wide open in love, like learning how to love yourself before you learn how to love somebody else, like healing who you are. And so with Until Tomorrow Comes, that's the book that they're reading. And a lady the other day, and I'm a read, I'm on my other phone, but I'm gonna read what she wrote to me. She said, I must say, when I started the book, the initial verse stole my heart. Then I read the first poem, and my heart said, wow. And then your poems just kept seeping into my heart. I am blessed to have read your book. You are a beautiful soul. And I wrote to her, I just said, thank you. I'm so humble, because my mission is to truly make a difference in the lives of others by sharing my gifts. And I am so thankful for your kind words and your time. So the best feeling in the world is to know that I'm impacting some people's lives in a positive way. And for every person that tells me nobody's going to read my book or nobody wants to read it, I have like 10 to 15 other people who are sending me messages daily saying, you inspire me, keep doing what you're doing a great job. And it's all because this is what I was called to do when I was 12, to help others heal in ways that we may know that we need, or we may not even know that we need it, but we're in the right place at the right time, reading the right message. And so that's what's powerful. The feedback is phenomenal. I love it.
Well, I bet you it's got to be great getting a response like that. Like whenever I'm doing my YouTube videos, people, they'll leave comments and they'll talk about, hey, look, I like that you did this. I like that you done this. And it really does make me feel good inside. I was just a little bit curious to ask you that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And even with the devotional, like I get so many people who read them, and it was like, oh, every day, I get empowered. I have a lot of, my friends that we've been helping and promoting each other and promoting books. And, when we read each other's books, we leave comments, and it's just knowing that people support you, knowing that what you're doing is making an impact on the world, and to hear those words, I'm just grateful every time. I'm so grateful, and I appreciate just for them to let me know that it's making a difference in their life.
You said you had a devotional. You wrote a devotional too?
I did my devotional, and I don't have a copy of it, but it's called Quiet Moments with God, because I sold out of my devotional. So I'm having some. I'm ordering some more. But it was a great.
Sold out. Wow, that's good. That's good. It must be a really good book if you sold out of it. Yeah.
It is. Like it is. It's so amazing, and it's only 31 days. But the thing about it is, it's 31 powerful, impactful days of just life lessons, like things that we go through. And when I wrote the book, I had to actually shut down like moments of my day, and as I began to get the downloaded messages, I put them in the book, and it was amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing book, and when people read them, and I go back and read my books all the time. I go back and get inspiration, and I'm looking at myself like, oh wow, I wrote that. Like, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this you need your own, motivation. You need to encourage yourself sometimes too. So I go back and read my own stuff from time to time, but
Well,
it's a great short read. Quiet Moments with God by LaDonna Marie. If you look up LaDonna Marie on Amazon, you'll see everything, every body of work that I'm in.
now,
That I've
so like, where can we find your websites? Go ahead and like tell everybody where we can find the books and the website and your blog, if you have a blog or any of these, Twitter, Instagram, all these things. Because again, social media is power. A lot of people don't really realize the power of social media, having these different accounts, whether it be Snapchat or your Instagram or your Facebook,
right.
different ways we can filter other people and get our message out.
YouTube. Right. So my website is www.ladonnamarie.org. You can go there. Also, on Facebook, I'm LaDonna Marie. I have a fan page that is LaDonna Marie Books. So you can find it because that's where I share all of my books and, the things that I do. On Instagram and also Twitter, I am LMB, LaDonna Marie Books, _ poetry. So that's what LaDonna Marie Books and _ poetry. That's LMB Poetry. I'm also on Google. I have 2 Google accounts, and you just look up author LaDonna Marie, and you'll see my smiling face most of the time. I'm on LinkedIn, author LaDonna Marie, and yeah, I think those are all of the places that I am. But again, my website is www.ladonnamarie.org, and I have a blog on there. I talk about different things. I talk about things that we go through in life. So, and I also drop some poetry and stuff on my website. Like right now, I have a t-shirt line that's going. It's called Light, Living in God's Hands Totally. And it's a part of the restoration and resiliency. Is what I do to help people be restored and to learn how to bounce back every day, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. Like, I don't want to let anybody be stuck. I want to be who I want to be today in this world, who I needed when I was growing up. I want to be that big sister, that mentor. I want to be I call myself the accountability catalyst. Like, if people need help with, keep moving forward, if they need help with that being inspired, if they need help with healing, I'm your girl.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Well, that brings us into like a little bit more into the structure of things. I want to get a little bit further, deeper into here for the viewers, like to help out some of these younger people that are trying to get their books written, trying to get some things going on. As you know, the show's pretty much about motivational things. So I want to know, what keeps you motivated? I know you say you find things to motivate you, but how do you keep motivated? How do you keep that feeling for you?
For me, it's really going back, knowing that I'm making a difference, like knowing that I'm impacting people's lives. And I'm very humble. Like, I don't have to have it spread it out across the world, like, oh, LaDonna fed the hungry, or I did like that. But I'm one of those type people, like, if it's a Saturday and God tells me to go, and maybe like sometimes I will go and sit out like in between 2 stores, and I'll have my table, and I would ask the people if I could come there. But I'm a type of person who likes to meet people where they are, because everybody you find are not going to be in buildings. Everybody is not going to be able to come to some of the shows or the conferences or different places. But for me, knowing that I'm making an impact on people's lives, and also like my degrees are in social work and professional counseling. So everything about me is helping people to feel that empowerment, if you're ready. Because a lot of people, sometimes they're not ready, they're not motivated. And so I can only say, I can only encourage you to say that these are some things that you should do. But when you fully want to let go, when you fully want to move forward, and I can understand, like, dwelling in some places can be hard. When I was younger, sometimes I didn't understand, why things were the way they were. And that's sometimes insanity, when you keep trying to understand some things instead of just understanding that sometimes you just have to shake it off, let go, and move forward, and choose positive thoughts, and choose to be motivated. And if no one encourages you, encourage yourself. So for me, knowing that I'm making a difference, knowing that if somebody gets a book from me, or they can get a hug, if they can get a word of encouragement, or if we can just laugh, if they want me to listen, and they just want to vent about where they are in their life, and we find some steps to move forward, like, that's what keeps me inspired. Touching lives, impacting lives, making a difference, knowing that I can walk away and say that they feel so much better, because I've had those experiences like so many times. I know last year I was selling books, and I'm gonna show you another one of my books. It's called Lessons, Shadow Pieces Being Restored. And I wrote this book in 2014, but last year, I was going out, and I had asked the question just out into the atmosphere, and I said, Lord, I said, am I doing, what you need me to do? Am I making, the impact that I need to make? And as soon as I put that out into the atmosphere, I had a guy came, and he said, I need to buy this book for my daughter. And so he bought the book for his daughter. By the end of that day, I had gotten a heartfelt message from that young lady, because I didn't know her, I didn't meet her, but I wrote her a nice letter inside of the book. I signed it and autographed it. And, I just wrote some words of encouragement that were on my heart to her. And once she got it, and once she read the book, she Facebook messaged me and said, like, it was so powerful. And she was like, I know you don't know me. She said, but when I got that book, everything that you talked about, everything, she said, I felt like you were talking about my life. I felt like nobody understood what I was going through. And she said, I didn't want to read the book. She's like, my dad brought me a book, and I was like, I don't want to read another book. She said, but something said, get the book, read the book. And when she did it, she was, she felt so much better. And so those are the moments that I know.
So what's this book about that you held up? What's the title again? I'm sorry.
So it's Lessons, Shadow Pieces Being Restored. And it's a story of 3 young ladies. And, I write to the teens. I love youth. I love empowering like the kids and the youth, but adults as well. But this book was strategically for young adults, and also for the adults who mentor or who want to kind of get like an inside view on what's going on. But it's 3 young girls. It's Chantel, Casey, and Mandy, and it's they're going through life and these different changes. So the book goes into 3 parts. One of them are going through growing pains, a lot of things that Chantel went through when she was growing up. And then Mandy is going through misconceptions of love, kind of doing a lot of things to fill the void of not knowing how to truly love yourself, going, in a lot of relationships. And then Casey, hers is enough is enough. And so she's kind of tired of being stuck where, she's not feeling worthy, or she's like between tired of giving up and wanting to move forward, like learning the beauty of who she is, and enough is enough of, standing in a place where she's always down and moving forward and growing spiritually. And so I told the story of these 3 girls, and I give you from the beginning of their monologue where they tell their story, and then at the end they give their stance about how they've learned to love themselves, and how they changed through the growth of their story. And so my poetry, with monologues, it turned into like something totally different, because the more people that read it are the more people that can take those real life events and say, wow, I went through that. And part of this book, the reason why I struggle with it the most, because God told me with this book that I had to give a little bit of me. And so when I was 14, I struggled with attempting suicide. And so for a long time, I never said anything. I felt so misunderstood that I just kept going with, the status quo like I did. And so when I wrote this book, he said, you got to give them some of you. You have to let them know why you're so motivated, like why you are, you're passionate. And I shared that, and it was fearful for me at first. And I can tell you a lot of stuff went on with this book. I lost it a couple times, maybe like 4 times. And it took me like a whole year. I started in January. This was the only book I did in 2014, because I went through a lot of stuff with the book. But I said to myself, I said, this book is going to come out. Like, it's going to come out. And I knew then that it's a lot of people's lives. And so with this book, I got 4 awards for the book. And so I'm just excited. The awards are great, but impacting lives are so much better, for me.
So I'm wondering now, I'm saying, so like when you're writing your books, how do you know, like, do you have like for instance, a cook, you find out whether or not your food's good, you give it to someone, they'll let you know. But I'm sure before you do this within the book, do you have someone you test your content on? Like, I mean, because like I mean, for me, I'm a musician. I have a song, I have a good idea, I have a nice little rhythm or whatever, I got a nice verse, and I'll send it to someone and say, hey, what do you think about this? But then as being an author, we kind of want to hold this and conceal it, you know. So what do you do? Like, do you show them?
I started to share it because in the beginning, like when I started a long time ago, I didn't want to share it because, you know, you like, oh, this is my stuff, and I wanted to keep it in. But I noticed that when I started to share it with others, they were saying, oh, this is what I'm going through. Like, you're in my head, like, you know what I'm feeling. And I'm like, okay. So then I learned that even though we're the authors and we're the writers, it's not always about us. It's about the person who's going to get it. And so, yeah, so now, like, even with my latest book and even with some of these, I share them with people just to see, you know, how they would, and, you know, how they would feel, and, you know, to get their words back. And so I always get like a wow or a thumbs up. And so now I'm anxiously awaiting. I just asked for 2 readers for my latest book. That's going to be Lessons, Mirror Conversations. And so I just sent the book out to them yesterday. I inquired about getting 2 readers that, you know, to kind of look it over. And so they have it. And so I'm excited to hear, you know, what they have to say. But, you know, I learned now that it's, like you said, it's so not about us. It's about other people. But sharing it and getting that feedback and just like letting people say, yeah, you know, I like this. Yeah, I do that from time to time.
Well, so like we can't really, I mean, some people, they do share their stuff to their family members and they're like, hey, mom, dad, uncle, sister, brother, what do you think? Is this something, do you share yours with the family member, someone you don't know? How do you go about finding the person that you want to share your content with?
I don't share with my family members. I find other people who either I'm looking for people who like the same types of things that I'm writing, like, or who are, you know, inspirationalists as well, those who would have who like poetry or who like devotionals, so things like that. So I find people who are kind of in the same heartbeat of what I do, you know, or I share it with them, or just people who love like to read. You know, I had like a couple people who just like love to read, and so I would share it with them. But the thing that I say sometimes, the reason why I don't share it with a lot of even like with some family members, because sometimes we understand, and I learned this a long time. You know, the gift is ours, and everybody don't feel it the same way you do. You know, I can be so excited and so happy and, you know, over the top, but then, you know, for some other people, it's just not what they fancy. And so instead of, you know, that, then I'll just share it with like-minded people, or people who you know, are looking for some extra read, or, you know, a quick read. So you just have to make sure that you pick people that like what you're doing and are in the same, you know, vibes of what you do and what you want to put out into the universe.
Okay, so that's pretty perfect. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but
I see. Well, I'm wondering now, so on social media wise, we have our websites, we have Instagram, Snapchat. Where exactly do you do most of the promotion at? What's your favorite platform to sit on to promote your book? A lot of people, they'll send it on Facebook, they'll put it on Twitter, but for you, what is done the best for you? So like maybe someone else can maybe lean on some of your advice to where they might be able to distribute their book a little bit better, or put it in front of people. What are some tactics that you do to put it in front of the eyes of the people using social media?
Okay, well, I like Instagram a lot. Like I really love Instagram, but you know, Facebook was around a lot of time. But the thing about Facebook is, and see, this is what I've learned. you know how we're on Facebook, and when Facebook first came about, it was like all of your friends and different people that you knew all the time, throughout your life, like they're your friends. So what I have to do, everybody that's your friend, everybody that's on your friend list, if you have personal page, they're not actually your audience. So they're just there to maybe connect with you. So I've learned that I had to, for the Facebook, I still promote stuff on my Facebook, but I do it on my Facebook fan page. Like, you can get you a fan page if you're an author, if you're a musician, you can get you a page that curtails to what you do. And so your fans are people that will like what you do. Like, they will like books, or they will like music. Because like I said, on your personal page, you have to learn. You can have 5,000 people on your personal page. And you may have, because I know I've seen it, I might only get 2 likes on a book that I put on there, because everybody that's on your friends list is not actually a fan. They're just, they're a friend, but they're not a fan of your work and what you do. So if you're on, Facebook, and you don't see the likes, don't get discouraged. Just, create you a fan page for whatever you do. And then, if you're an author, if you're a writer, if you're a poet, if you're, musician, find people will gravitate to you who like what you do, and they will be fans of your, of your things. Now, Instagram for me, I like it because the hashtags, you come up with your own hashtags, and then everything that you do, it will be under your hashtag, and then you get the most popular hashtags and you put them under your stuff, like, authors. I think like some of my poet friends, we do like poets of Instagram, or writers on IG, or so different things like that will help you to get out into the market. So other people who click on those hashtags will see your stuff in the feed too. And it's like thousands and 100,000. So just being on there and making sure that you put those hashtags and you use those hashtags will help out. Now, Facebook Live, and also on Google and different things like that, you have these platforms where you can come on and talk to people. So if those are things that you like to do, want to do a little chat about your book or chat about your music, things like that, you can do that, and you can, start to get an audience. The more that you do it, the more that you'll have like an audience and a growing.
And it's so true. A lot of people, they get discouraged because like maybe they'll do like an upload on YouTube and they don't get views right away, and so they're like, oh, I'm tired of doing this. And me and from Now You See TV, we were talking about how you've got to kind of like go through keyword research, title your stuff,
Yeah, you have to do that. I know I did that too. Like when I said back when I researched, even for stuff on like Amazon, you have to look and see like what's the most popular words, like the keywords and the Google words and AdWords, and you do all that, because that's how your stuff will show up in front of people. And I learned a long time ago too, also on Google, if you're on Google, the more stuff that you add on your Google Plus account, when people, how people say the saying, Google me, like when you type in your name, all of the things that you do, you put on your feed over time, it'll be out there in internet land. And so if anytime that they do, they do go Google your name, they'll see everything, about your name and everything that you put on your feed constantly. So, it's a plus when you continue to put things out. I'm so thankful, just like you said, how you found me. You saw some things that I did. Another guy said he saw some things, like he saw a video that I had done somewhere else, because you have to stay constant. Like, you have to stay persistent, and, you want to be a writer. And I can say, getting into writing, if you're getting into writing, think you're going to get that $1 million deal, it's coming. But you have to be persistent. You have to be consistent. So every day, I'm making sure that I plug something somewhere. So just like you saw me on the video, you were passing and you said, okay, I saw her. Somebody else will see you. So you may not get 1 million people at one time, but you'll get, you'll slowly get followers and people to notice you each day, as long as you're consistent.
What was the first thing you noticed when people started noticing you? Where did you start seeing the biggest change? Was it on side of the Facebook, or was it the Instagram? Where was the first big, I see how to make this work now? Where did that come from?
I think, well, for me, it was on Instagram. It really actually was on Instagram, because the more I start putting it out there, you know what? Let's see. Was it Instagram? No, I want to go back. It was Twitter. It was Twitter, because
Wow,
I think,
really Twitter. I hear a whole lot. Twitter is not really so much the best. Please explain.
what, well, not anymore, but like when I first started back in like with really actually promoting and putting my stuff out there. I have some wonderful friends. Like, we've been, we retweet each other's stuff, and we were back then, we were just, listening to whatever we had doing. So we were following the Twitter lines. We found each other on Twitter, we connected, and then it went from Instagram, then it went from Facebook. So, I have some friends, and we always promote each other's stuff, but we found each other through tweeting, because I did used to do a lot of tweeting. I had 2 accounts, and I was tweeting all the time, because you know how Twitter, your stuff gets in, if you don't tweet, it gets lost. And
Yeah,
so we did a lot.
behind everybody else's stuff if you don't get to tweet.
Right, so it trickles down to the timeline. But see, that those things right there take a lot of time, and so, I learned you have to get like these different programs that maybe you can have, like the Hootsuite app. You can do Twitter, you can do your Twitter accounts, both of those. You can do your Facebook, and you can do maybe like LinkedIn. So if you send out a message, you can send out a mass message to all those networks, instead of just, doing it freehand, doing all of them. Because when you decide to market and promote, and be visible so people can see you, it's a schedule. Like, you have to be strategic about it, and not just get out there and be like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm gonna just post a little bit today. That's why you have to continue to be consistent. But now I love Instagram.
So Instagram is the main clutch. It does
Right.
everything.
It is. And then I'm starting to get a lot of followers on Instagram, because at first I didn't have a lot of followers, but once I learned to be authentic and continue to be myself, and give the people a look inside of my life, as well as just a mom and a woman of God and a friend, and living this resiliency life, and being restored, and showing my authentic, like sometimes if I go through, or different things, just making sure you can put that out there, because a lot of people like pictures. They like pictures more than they like words, and I think that's why Instagram is really popular, because people love pictures, and people love posts that they can see and read. And so I think that's what draws people in, because they like your words, but that's the reason why a lot of Facebook stuff now are becoming posts with like different posts and stuff, and your words and different things like that, so people can see you, a lot more than just read what you say.
Right. I've always said that. I always think that getting a visual of something, being able to look at it and versus reading it, you're gonna get a better response from something, because a lot of people they feel like they're more I guess you would say a part of whatever it is whenever they're able to see it. Don't get me wrong, reading's just the same. It can
Yeah.
do just the same. Some people it can, but then again, like we have a lot of our different people out in the world. You have different learners. You have learners that see things visually. You have learners that hear things.
Right.
So
Right.
I could definitely understand that.
Yeah. It's awesome. I
Yes.
love Instagram.
Yeah, so Instagram, and can you tell us again where your Instagram is?
Okay, well, my Instagram is LMB_poetry. And if you type in Author LaDonna Marie, you'll see me. But it's my handle is at LMB_poetry, and that's the same thing for my Twitter account as well.
So when you're writing your blogs and you're doing things like this, and you're getting your perfect titles or your perfect headings to share with people, where like what like what kind of words are you looking for? Like what kind of articles are you looking to write? What kind of things are most people reacting to when you're writing to bring the attention and the attraction and things like this?
For me, it has been encouragement and empowerment for a long time, because I used to have my blog on I used to be on, what's that website? I can't even think of it right now. But when my blog was really because I wrote about things that people go through, like overcoming self-help, different things, motivational things, inspirational things. And so those are the things that I write about: being a counselor, being a therapist, being a person who likes to help people heal. Those are like the key words. Like now I use empowerment, encourage, inspire, motivate, overcoming obstacles, restoration, resiliency. So when I write different messages, like even if I started to write paragraphs or share poems, I would put those in because a lot of people are looking for those things as much as they're looking for the book that's going to, give them all of the drama and, or the other stuff. They're looking to be healed. They're looking to find that encouragement. They're looking to do things, because my thing is a person that's depressed could be a boy, could be a girl, could be an older woman, could be, older man. So depression doesn't have just a certain person that it sticks to, or somebody that needs to be encouraged. It doesn't have that. So I just cater to the people who are looking for that help, for that motivational help, for those different things, and keep moving forward no matter what. Like I use hashtags like that, and inspirational and inspiration, stuff like that, and I put those on my blogs, and that's what people, they come. And then I have another program that's called the Rebuilding Fragments program. It's an online program. There's like a 4-week course program you can buy off of my website, because I have services and different things on my website. That whole program is about like what I do as a therapist too, but what people need for their life, like transformation. If you're needing to be transformed, you just say, hey, my life is just going real crazy and I need some help with it. So I design things that will help people who are looking to make those moves, because even as a therapist, I have some clients I have that come in, they don't really want to, if you're mandated, sometimes you don't really want to be there. But for the ones that want to be there, for the ones that want that knowledge, or they want those steps, or they want those coping skills, like I write different things. I'm always, sharing teachable moments. I never wanted to be a teacher, but I always love to like share inspiration or wisdom, or share things that can help somebody, So those are the things that I write about when I do my blogs.
So I want to ask you a little bit different question.
Okay.
What was the hardest thing for you to deal with when becoming an author and getting your books published and things like this, and how did you overcome it?
So the hardest thing for me was in the beginning was that nobody was going to like it. Like I really felt like nobody was going to like it, but my obedience to the gift was, no matter what I feel, this is what I have to release out into the atmosphere. Like, I have to. But the more and that was just my own little, little bubbles. And before you put something out there, you're like, oh, how are people going to receive it? So now moving forward, because I've been going through a lot of stuff with this last book, and now I'm like, okay, so I'm going through some stuff with this book, so I know this book is ready to rock the world. Like I know this is about to change some people's lives. Like this is about to do what it's supposed to do, because if I feel this uncomfortable, trying to, do it, and it's what I love, I know that it's about to impact some people's lives. So just getting over that initial, like, are they gonna like it? And then now I'm like, well, no matter if they like it or not, I'm gonna put it out there into the atmosphere, because like I said before, I am not gonna leave this earth full with words or with thoughts, or I'm not gonna have any shoulda, coulda, woulda, because I'm gonna get it all out.
I like that. No shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
I'm not gonna have no regret. I'm gonna put it out there, and whether they like it or not, I tell my sons, because I have 2 sons, and I tell them all the time, when they're younger now, but when they get older, they're going to be able to say, my mom has books out. And they say that now, but when they get older, they be like, this is a book, my mom did this. Like it's in literature forever. It's out in the atmosphere. Like I put something out there for my legacy. So when they get to be older and older, and they're telling people, yeah, my mom is a writer, and this is what she do. This is her book. This is the legacy that she left for us. That's what's important to me. I know there are going to be some people who like it. I know there are going to be some people who don't like it. I got a 1-star review, I think, on Until Tomorrow Comes. But at that point, I said, and I had 48 other 5-star reviews. So that 1-star review, at first I was like, wow. But then I said, everything that I write isn't for everybody, and it will find the audience that it's for. So some people may not like it, and some people do. So I just focus on the people that do, and the people who don't, oh well, find you something else to read.
I like that. Find it. Right. You can't appease everyone. I like how you keep on just saying it's not your own faith that you leaned upon. It was the Lord's faith. I like to hear that. You know, a lot of people, we want to go and do what we want to do, but then again, when you read about Jonah and the whale, he wanted to go do what he wanted to do. He found out where he ended up.
Right. And see, that's how I am too, because that's the reason why I say I'm obedient. Even like I said, for writing lessons, it was hard for me. Like, it was really hard for me because I didn't want to share it, but because I shared it, and every time that I do that, it's like I get the satisfaction of knowing that, when other people read it and they see it, it's like, I did what I was supposed to do. I put out there what God wanted me to put out there. And so every time I'm like, I'm going to be obedient to writing exactly what he wants me to put out in the atmosphere. And then he'll get the glory for it, because I'm just a scribe. I'm just a writer that he called at 12 to say, do this for me. And,
That's
I love it.
I really like that. That's so powerful. Just just hearing all that stuff. I wanted to, before we get off here, because we've been running for almost about an hour now.
Really?
Yeah, we've been on for about an hour. I want to ask you, because I've had a younger kid ask me. He said, ask her where I might be able to turn to, where any groups on Facebook, any of these things that they might be able to turn to be able to get their stuff out in front of people, like not so much as in like getting it published, or just really just trying to get a feedback from people. And then also, can you give them like one thing that you could give them to keep them motivated? Like, what's one thing that you could say to them to keep them motivated?
Okay, so if they're a writer, or like if they're a poet, there are groups. Like, I know for me, some of my friends, they have like poetry groups. Like, I know there's a lot of poetry groups that are out there. Like, if they're, like I said, they're a writer and they want to share different things. There are Christian groups that you can like look up, if you want to share, because like I share my devotionals and different things, or my Christian, poetry that, like, I have I have a CD that's called Conversations with God, and it's a poetic spoken word CD. So you can look, like, so I said, if you're doing poetry, or if you're writing novels, if you're doing whatever you're doing, just write in the bar up there, like, if you're looking for that group, like, for what you do, if it's writing, if it's children's books, if it's poetry, and then just look at some of the groups, and you can go in there and start sharing some of your stuff, because that's a lot of things. I think like the biggest group I'm on, I think it's like Black poets or something like that, and like you can go in there and you can write your stuff, and people read it and they leave their comments or different things like that. Even some groups that I'm in, as far as like the Christian things that you write about, if you want to share like little pieces of your excerpts of your work just to get feedback. So the younger ones, you can go on there, but be cautious of the different type of groups you get, and also know that when you put your stuff out there, if somebody doesn't like it, don't take it all the way to heart. Just still learn and grow from it. Just learn and grow from it. Also, a word of advice that I want to give them is just never give up. And I'm gonna tell them too, never give up. I've been carrying this dream, like I said, ever since I was 12. I've done it full-time working, I've done it part-time working, I've done everything. I would tell people, if I could stop writing this on my own, I would, but I can't do it. So I want to tell them, don't give up. If you have to do it, if your dream takes, like, my first time my dream took 12 years. It took 12 years from when I started to 2010 when I published. But I never stopped believing in myself. That's the biggest thing. You have to believe in yourself like no other before, because there will be a lot of people that tell you nobody wants it, or nobody will like this, or it's not going. But that dream is not for them. That dream is for you. So as long as you know that, just listen to what they say. Don't even try to go back and forth. Just listen, but believe in yourself with everything that you have, and just go for it. Research. And never give up. If it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, just keep doing it. And I promise you, you'll get to that finish line. And when you get to that finish line, and when you can say that I've done it, and you get that feeling like, wow, I've accomplished my dream, then make another goal. dream bigger, do something else. Like, never stop dreaming, because before I leave this earth, I'm going to be a Pulitzer Prize winner. I'm going to have a Tony. You know, I have 7 awards right now, but I want to keep my mind focused on the big picture of where I can go, not just because I'm from a small town or whatever, but I want to impact the world. I want to go international. So dream big, keep moving forward, believe in yourself, and never give up. Never, 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 never.
That's so powerful. I really like hearing everything that you have to say, and I guarantee other people will too. This was the main reason why I was like, I've got to get her on itsmontez.com.
Thank you.
I would, at the end of the show, I'd like you to ask the audience a question. Ask them a question. Lots of people will respond, hopefully, and they'll put their answer to whatever your question is. Do you have a question that you might want to be answered by the audience?
Oh wow! What would I want to look? What would I want to know?
Any question at all? Any question? Anything? Maybe. What do you all think about paperback, hardback? Which one would you rather read? A paperback, hardback? Anything? Any question? And the people will answer it at the bottom in the comment box, so you'll always be able to go back and get some feedback out of it.
Okay. Let's see. So I would want to say, what do you like more? What do you think? What would you want to read more of? Because I've always had this. Would you like urban writings or motivational writings? Like, out there in the world, what would you like more? Urban fiction novels or motivational? Like, are motivational books just as relevant or good? So I want to see, like, how do people think? Like, where are their minds at with the information that they take in? You know, so I want to know, like, what do they want to read?
Well, you know what? That's a powerful question. I'm pretty sure lots of people will put the answers down. LaDonna Marie, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you.
Right by. The time flew right by. It's 9:01 now, so we made some traction, didn't we? Huh?
We did. All right. Well, have a good one. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, itsmontez.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. As she said, she's got a question at the end of the film. Which one would you rather hear? Would you rather hear your urban, or would you rather hear motivational? Which one would you rather hear? Leave the comments below. Be sure to share the video, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, itsmontez.com. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in.